She's sitting in her car outside her apartment, phone in her lap, staring at a text he sent 20 minutes ago that just says, "Wow, okay." That's it. No punctuation to soften it, no explanation. She just told him she couldn't make it to his friend's birthday thing because she had a deadline. And now she's replaying the entire conversation, wondering if she's a bad girlfriend, wondering if she should cancel her plans, wondering if 2 words just ruined her whole night. Here's what she doesn't know yet, sitting in that car. Those 2 words weren't about the birthday party. They were a test. And she's about to fail it beautifully the way most of us do because nobody ever taught her what to listen for. So today we're talking about the 5 things a man will say when he's testing you. Not lying to you, not always even doing it on purpose, but testing you, probing to see what you'll tolerate, how much you'll shrink, whether you'll perform for his approval. And I want to promise you something. The 5th one on this list is the quietest of all of them. It doesn't sound like a test at all. Most women don't even clock it until years into a relationship, and by then it's already reshaped who they are. So stay with me because we're going to get you fluent in a language you were never taught, and by the end of this you're going to hear these 5 phrases completely differently than you ever have before. Let's start with number 1. Wow, okay. You know this one. Maybe not those exact words, but you know the shape of it. It's the non-response response. It's the sentence built entirely out of silence, dressed up as words. Let's go back to her sitting in that car. What she's about to do is text back 3 paragraphs explaining herself, apologizing, offering to rearrange her whole week to make it up to him. What she should do, and what most of us have to learn the hard way, is recognize that wow, okay is not information. It's an invitation. It's him dangling a hook to see if you'll bite, if you'll scramble to manage his mood, if his mild disappointment can override your actual plans. Here's the psychology underneath it, and this is important. A man who does this isn't always a manipulator twirling a mustache somewhere. Sometimes he's a guy who was never taught to say, "I'm disappointed, can we talk about it?" So he outsources that disappointment into 2 clipped words and waits to see how much power they have over you. But intention doesn't change impact. Whether he's doing it consciously or not, the test is the same. Will you chase the silence? Will you apologize for something you didn't do wrong? The version people miss here is that this test often doesn't happen on day 1. It happens after you've already invested. Maybe you're 3 months in, you like him, you've started picturing a future, and that's exactly when the wow, okay starts showing up, because now there's something to lose. And losing things is what makes us abandon our own boundaries. Healthy behavior looks like this instead. "Hey, that's a bummer. I was hoping you'd come, but I get it. Deadlines are real." That's a full sentence. That's an adult communicating a feeling without weaponizing it. Your job, when you get the 2-word version instead, is to not fill in the blanks for him. Let the silence be his to sit in. Say something simple like, "Sounds like you're disappointed, want to talk about it?" and then stop typing. Watch what he does with the space you just left open. That's the takeaway. Don't perform your way out of someone else's unspoken feelings. And speaking of unspoken feelings, wait until we get to number 4, because that's where this same dynamic gets a lot more dangerous. Number 2, you've probably heard that a man who talks about his ex a lot is still in love with her. That's backwards, or at least it's incomplete. Sometimes a man brings up his ex, unprompted, comparing you to her. "She used to get so jealous when I'd hang out with my friends. You're so much more chill." And you feel a little glow of pride, right? You're the cool girl. You're not like her, except here's what's actually happening underneath that sentence. He is running a live experiment on your boundaries, using her as the control group. He already knows what happened when she asserted a need. He's watching to see if you'll assert the same one, or if you'll perform chill to keep the compliment coming. This is one of the sneakier tests because it's disguised as flattery. It feels good to be praised. But ask yourself what exactly you're being praised for. If it's for having a need and not voicing it, that's not chill, that's compliance being rewarded. Let's bring in a version people miss. Sometimes this shows up even more subtly, not about an ex, but about other girls in general. Most girls would be so insecure about this, but you're not like that. Same test, different wrapping paper. The real underlying psychology is that people who want to avoid accountability often need to establish early that you're the type who doesn't hold anyone accountable. It's easier to behave badly around someone who's already agreed out loud that she's not the type to complain. Healthy behavior sounds like this instead. A man who respects you brings up an X, if at all, with context and closure, not as a live comparison chart with you as the current contestant. The actionable move for you is simple, and it might feel uncomfortable the first time you try it. When you get that compliment, don't just smile and accept the crown. Say the true thing. I mean, I'd probably feel a little weird if you were out late with an ex and didn't tell me either. That's not insecurity, that's just normal. Watch his face. Watch what he says next. That reaction is the actual test result, not the version you get if you just stay quiet and soak up the compliment. Number 3, let's check back in on her for a second. It's a few days later. He hasn't brought up the birthday thing again, but he started doing something new. Last minute plan changes. Actually, let's do Thursday instead of Saturday. Actually, can we push dinner to 9 instead of 7? Small things, nothing dramatic. But she notices she's rearranging her entire week around a schedule that seems to shift the moment she gets comfortable with it. This is test number 3, and it usually sounds something like, I mean, if you're busy, it's fine, don't worry about it, said in a tone that makes it extremely clear it is not fine, and you should, in fact, worry about it. This is what I call the reverse psychology test, and it's designed to make you prove your interest through logistical gymnastics rather than through anything real. The psychology here is about control disguised as ease. A man testing you this way wants to know, does she value her own time, or does my time automatically outrank hers the moment I make it inconvenient? Here's the layer people miss on this one. It's not really about the schedule at all. Scheduling is just the surface where it's easiest to measure. The real question being tested is whether you'll treat your own life, your job, your friendships, your rest as negotiable the second his life brushes up against it. Healthy behavior looks like actual back and forth. Oh, Thursday doesn't work for me. Can we keep Saturday or try Sunday? And a genuine effort to meet in the middle, not a guilt-laced, no worries that's secretly full of worries. Your actionable takeaway here is to notice the pattern, not the individual instance. One reschedule is life. A pattern of reschedules that always cost you something and never cost him anything. That's data. Say it plainly. I've noticed our plans keep moving at the last minute, and it's been a lot for me to keep adjusting. Can we figure out a rhythm that works for both of us? That sentence alone will tell you more about him than 100 more rescheduled dinners ever could. And this next one is the one that masquerades as him being easygoing when it's actually the opposite. Number 4, and let's slow down here because this is where things start to get more serious. I'm not really a jealous guy. I don't need you checking in all the time. Sounds refreshing, right? Sounds like the low-maintenance dream after you've dated men who wanted your location pinged every hour. But listen closely to what that sentence is actually doing. It's establishing preemptively that any future need you have for reassurance, any future request for consistency is going to be framed as you being the clingy one, the jealous one, the high-maintenance one. He hasn't even done anything yet. He's just preloaded the label, so it's ready to use against you the first time you ask, hey, can you text me when you land? Or, hey, I didn't hear from you all weekend. Everything okay? This one connects directly back to our girl in the car because remember, she already learned from the wow, okay moment that her needs cause friction. Now here's a man essentially telling her in advance that even mentioning a need makes her the problem. That's not a coincidence. That's a pattern starting to calcify. The psychology underneath this test is about preemptive shame. If he can get you to believe that wanting basic communication is a character flaw in you, he never has to be accountable for providing it. The version people miss is that this often gets delivered with a compliment sandwiched around it. You're so secure. That's what I love about you. Not like other girls who need constant reassurance. So that if you ever do need reassurance later, you feel like you're breaking a promise you never actually made. Healthy behavior sounds completely different. I'm not big into constant check-ins, but if something's ever on your mind, I want you to tell me. We'll figure it out together. That's security offered, not weaponized. Your actionable step is this. Don't let a label someone assigns you in month 1 become a cage you live in for the next 2 years. If you need something later, ask for it plainly, without a 10-minute preamble apologizing for asking. Hey, I'd love a quick text when your flight lands, just so I'm not wondering. If that simple, reasonable ask gets met with, see, this is the jealous thing I was talking about. You haven't found a low-maintenance man. You found a man who pre-negotiated his way out of basic decency. And I promised you the last one changes everything. Here it is. Number 5, and this is the quiet one, the one almost nobody clocks in real time. You're so easy to talk to. On its own, beautiful, should feel wonderful, but watch what it turns into over time, because this compliment often marks the start of a subtle, ongoing test of your emotional bandwidth. It starts innocent. He vents about his job, you listen, you're a good listener. He tells you that, it feels lovely, but slowly the venting increases. Slowly you become his unpaid, unlicensed therapist, the person he processes every emotion through, while your own emotional needs quietly get smaller and smaller in the room to make space for his. Let's go back to her one more time, because here's how this ends up connecting all 4 previous moments into one story. After the wow, okay, after the X comparisons, after the last minute reschedules, after being told she's not the jealous type, by the time we get here, she has been so thoroughly trained to make herself easy, low need, accommodating, that when he says you're so easy to talk to, it lands like the biggest compliment of her life. Except what he's really testing, whether he knows it or not, is whether she'll keep absorbing his emotional weight without ever asking him to hold any of hers. The psychology here is that people gravitate, consciously or not, toward partners who will do the emotional labor for free, and you're so easy to talk to is often the receipt for services already rendered, not a genuine acknowledgement of mutual intimacy. The version people miss is that this test rarely gets called out because it feels like closeness. It feels like the opposite of red flags. That's exactly why it's the most dangerous one on this list. It disguises depletion as connection. Healthy behavior looks like reciprocity, him asking about your day with the same energy he used to unload about his, him noticing when you go quiet and asking why, him holding space for you the same way you hold it for him. The actionable takeaway is this: the next time you catch yourself being the easy one to talk to, pause and ask, when's the last time he asked how I'm actually doing and sat with the answer for more than 30 seconds? If you can't remember, that's the test result right there. So let's go back to her. Car still running outside her apartment, phone still in her lap. Except this time, let's rewrite it because now she knows what she's looking at. Wow, okay, comes through. And instead of typing 3 apologetic paragraphs, she sits with it for a second, feels the pull to fix his mood, and doesn't chase it. She types, sounds like you're disappointed. We can talk about it if you want, and puts the phone down. And here's the part that matters most, the part I want you to carry with you long after this video ends. Nothing bad happens. The sky doesn't fall. If anything, something shifts. Because for the first time, she's not auditioning for his approval. She's just being herself and actually watching what he does with that. That's the whole point of everything we just talked about. Every single one of these 5 things isn't really a test of whether you're likable enough, agreeable enough, easy enough. It's a test of whether you'll abandon yourself to be chosen. And the moment you stop abandoning yourself, you find out incredibly fast who was actually worth staying for. If this helped you make sense of something you've been feeling but couldn't quite name, hit like, subscribe if you're new here because we talk about this stuff every week, and tell me in the comments which one of these 5 hit closest to home for you. And if you want to go deeper into that last one, the emotional labor piece, I've got a whole video breaking down how to tell the difference between being a good listener and becoming someone's emotional dumping ground. So go watch that one next. I'll see you there. I'll